We haven't yet talked about the gallbladder's connection with Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism yet on the show. And so many listeners, all you out there that are listening, maybe you had your gallbladder removed, maybe you're facing it, maybe you wish you hadn't, or some doctor just decided to rip it out because it was a good idea based on your symptoms. So my guest today has been there, done that, walk the walk, and through her own pain to purpose story, actually changed careers over it. So, Divya, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm dying for you to share your story. I've heard your story, but I'm dying for you to share your story with the audience of your journey. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, and I'm so happy to be here, and Dr. Amy, and thank you for giving this platform. Yes, yes, been there, done that. Not this is one thing I wish I hadn't, but yes, been there, done that, and have a pain to purpose. So my gallbladder was removed when I was 20, when I was still in India. But just to back up a little bit, I'm an Indian immigrant. This year marks year 20 in the US, and I spent a couple of years in Pittsburgh. I know that's where you're from, so
Yeah.
that's where I went to for my master's. And I came on a very stereotypical path. Did my engineering in India, came here to do my master's, and then started working in corporate America. And high stress, go. I worked in New York City. So I worked in corporate America for 15 plus years. And never in a million years I thought I would be doing so different, telling my parents, sorry, you spent thousands of dollars on my education. I'm going to switch careers. But my journey started with my own health challenges, and sometimes, and also watching my mom go through a health challenge. I think I had both going for me, unfortunately. So I lost my gallbladder at 20, and it started out of nowhere. If you think about it, I was seemingly healthy. I wasn't overweight. Not everything was fine. And one fine day, the pain just started. And subsequently, long story short, it just got intense every night. Every night I would be up pacing the room around 2 a.m. Now we know that's the liver and gallbladder. I'm like, oh, maybe it's gas, or maybe I just ate something funny. And it wasn't until a few nights I told my mom, because we still live with our parents until we leave. I'm like, I'm waking up every night. I don't know what's going on. She's like, oh, wake me up next time. It continued. We saw doctors. They gave me some probably antibiotics or maybe stomach bug. Nothing helped until one day I was throwing up. It was so severe. And Dr. Amy, I've been through childbirth, and I would still take that. I would still take that over the gallbladder pain.
Wow.
Any day. I'll push out a baby again if I have to, but I'm not doing that again. It was so, and I don't wish it on my enemy. It was so intense. I was throwing up, I was crying. I was rushed to the emergency room. Like even prior to that, at one point we did figure out it's gallstones because it was so severe. And a part of me was relieved. At least I know what it is. And honestly, I didn't know what the gallbladder did at that point. And the doctor, as you said in your intro, we can just take it out and your problem will be solved. Like, get me out of this pain. I don't care. Take it out. But I had planned surgery based on my exams, but no, it was, life happened. It was so severe. I had to rush to the ER. They took it out. Things are fine. You're young. You get back into, I was studying for my GREs. I was preparing to come to the US. I just got back into that preparation and came to the US. Now, when I look back, I think I probably had some IBS too after I came here. I was like the stress induced. But life goes on, but around 24, 25, 4 or 5 years now, I'm living in New York City, fast-paced world. By accident, I get now diagnosed with Hashimoto's.
Okay.
Oh, now you and I know there's a connection, but at that point, I don't have my blood work when my gallbladder surgery happened to anybody look into, hey, was there subclinical hypothyroidism going on at that point? What were my other markers? I don't have that with me right now. But even when my Hashimoto's diagnosis happened, nobody made the connection to the gallbladder removal. And I think I was lucky I got diagnosed so early because I've been to the doctor with a lot of muscle ache. That was my primary symptom, fatigue and muscle ache. And they've dismissed me saying, you're too young, it's in your head, leave. And I was like, maybe it is in my head. I should be working harder. I should suck it up and just continue with my life. But thank God for the OBGYN I was seeing. She actually touched and felt my thyroid. How many doctors do that anymore? Where she said, oh, it feels a little inflamed. Go see an endocrinologist. And I was put on Synthroid after that. And I didn't know any better. Let's get on Synthroid. And it worked for me. I know for a lot of people it doesn't. And but for me, it really, I was like, oh, I'm not tired all the time. The muscle aches went down. But during the same time, I got my Hashimoto's diagnosis. My mom, who had been on the same exact path, because she also had a gallbladder removed, but she did never had any pain. But doctors just took it out because it was filled with stones.
Mm-hmm.
She had a Hashimoto diagnosis, and she got a rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis around the time I had Hashimoto's. And I'm like, I'm watching a preview of my movie. If I don't change anything, I'm following that path, and that doesn't look fun. Like with all the steroids and the amount of pain she was in, I'm like, I don't want to go through that. And
Right.
that's what got me into, okay, what can I do? What can I change? I had no idea. This is 16, 17 years ago. What do you look for? Gut health? Like at that point, it wasn't so mainstream. Like you started working on your gut, at least now we can go find information if you're looking for. But I was like, okay, diet seemed the first thing I can control. Let me change how I'm eating. I was traveling a lot. I worked for a top 4 consulting firm at that point, so definitely in a high stress situation environment. I took out gluten and dairy for a week to test it out, and I'm
Right.
like, wow, I was bloated all the time. I had no freaking clue that I was bloated all the time until I took it out, and that's when my love affair with nutrition and health and wellness started. Or what's next? What can I change? How can I? This feels better, and it was no magic pill. It was years of changing little things at a time. And at this point, I'm like, why aren't people talking about it? Why aren't the doctors talking about it? Why isn't anyone, the doctor spends 10 minutes and all she does is check my thyroid. Oh, you have nodules too. Just go get an ultrasound done.
Yeah. And just
But
check your TSH. Right.
just a TSH, I had no
Yeah.
idea about T3. I just got my recent T3. It's on 3.29. I'm taking T3 as well. But that's when I'm like, okay, I need to go back to school. It started more as my own. I wanted to do it for my own health and my family's. I went back to school to study nutrition, and now I'm like, got gut health certified and studying hormones as well. And a couple of years ago, I'm like, I can't keep doing what I was doing. My heart wasn't in it. I wanted to go impact more people's lives. Why are people still suffering with this? You deal with, it's thyroid. Why are people still don't know
Yeah.
what Hashimoto's is? Doctors are still just doing TSH.
Yeah.
And that's become my purpose. And I want to help impact as many lives as I can.
Wow. That's powerful. I mean, you did a total switch with 2 different diseases. Right. So, for those who don't know the connection between gallbladder and hypothyroidism Hashimoto's, can you explain that?
Absolutely. So first of all, thyroid sits at the base of your neck, and your liver and gallbladder at the right side of under your rib. And people wonder, they are all sits at different parts of your body. How are they all connected? But that's the beauty of a body system, right? Everything is interconnected,
Yes.
and nothing ever performs just one function. They're all multifaceted too. They do so much for us.
Right.
And for our thyroid to work, we need synergistic 5 different organs to work. We need our brain, our thyroid, our liver, adrenals, gut. I'm sure a lot more. All of them need to work and have a role to play.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start with the liver. Our liver is, oh my God, it does so much for us. It's one of the most important organ. It creates hormones, metabolizes hormones. It's where cholesterol is made.
Yep.
It's where bile is made. It's where vitamin D is synthesized, and it, filters our blood, and sure, 300 other functions that it performs for us.
Yep.
It works so hard. And so our thyroid, when we are, again, there's a chicken and the egg problem, whether it was low thyroid hormone or your liver not working as well, could be, we don't know. But for example 1, if your thyroid hormone has a direct correlation with the production of cholesterol and indirectly bile, because bile is made of bile salts, cholesterol, and other raw materials. So now if your thyroid is, even if it's subclinical, right, it does not have to be outside the range, even if you're edging towards low, on the higher end of the normal ranges.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has a direct, your cholesterol production could go, your bile salts are not produced, the cholesterol production is impacted.
Okay.
And now your bile, which could be, the bile, this is like a potion. I think of it as a right potion. Everything has to be in the right concentration for it to be ready, because bile is the one that helps us digest fats.
Mm-hmm.
It helps clear out excess hormones, excess cholesterol. And once the liver produces the bile, it stores it in our gallbladder, which is a pear-shaped little organ right under the liver. It stores it there. So when we eat a fatty meal, it can squeeze out in the right amount and the right consistency because it goes and stores it and it gets a little thicker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when our thyroid hormone is low and now your cholesterol production, your bile, everything's impacted. It probably it's more cholesterol than bile salts in your bile now, and it can get thicker and sludgy.
Mm-hmm.
And the other place is now, I forgot a very important function that liver does that for a thyroid. It also converts your T4 to T3.
Right. Right.
So as we know, your audience know that T4 is the inactive thyroid hormone, and it needs to be converted into the active thyroid hormone, T3.
Yep.
And our cells have receptors for only T3, not T4. So now that conversion is also impacted. So we don't have enough T3. So now each of the cells uses T3 to function. So now even your gallbladder has a receptor for T3 so that it can contract and squeeze out the bile when we eat a fatty meal. Now, you may be producing enough TSH, and that's the whole problem with not getting the full lab. You might be, the TSH is good, your body's producing T4, it's not converting.
Right.
Now your bile is not getting squeezed out. Your conversion may not impact it, right? You're not converging, and your T3 is not enough, so not squeeze. It gets tired, it gets like fatigue.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the energy to squeeze out because it takes a lot of energy. And now the bile is backing up. And what happens eventually, it does form stones because 90% of gallstones are cholesterol based.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's not that we want to lower the cholesterol because we know doctors are prescribing statins left and right. So when you say cholesterol, a lot of people go, oh, maybe I should take that statin. And that's not it. Right. That's not the answer. Right.
That's a whole another episode, right? Why, if you have low thyroid hormone, you might be having high cholesterol or probably LDL because.
And then what is high? Yeah. Total other episode. Yes.
Like we get ideas for other episodes on each episode and it's because of the bile, because bile is what helps us get rid of the excess cholesterol, the metabolism of it. And when it's unable to do it, we don't have enough bile in our system that's not being squeezed out into our small intestine. It gets reabsorbed into your body. That's why the cholesterol goes up. So yeah, statin is not going to be solving the problem.
Right.
So yeah, so it could, now that's a very 50,000 foot view of how when you have low thyroid function, it could really impact your liver health, the whole conversion, your cholesterol production, your bile, your gallbladder. And then once you don't have enough bile, bile, again, as I said, it does so much. It also helps us digest our fatty foods, the fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. And how many people with hypothyroidism are low in those fat soluble vitamins?
So many. Right. Exactly.
And it helps to get rid of excess hormones too. Like, our estrogen, you want the E1, I'm getting technical, but we don't want the bad estrogen metabolites to get rid of it. Bile helps to conjugate to that and get rid of it, and the cholesterol piece that we talked about as well. So now we can see how when we have low in thyroid hormone, it could impact downstream the liver and gallbladder and further downstream, or it could be the other way around. I would love to hear your perspective. It could be your liver is not performing as well, and it could impact how your thyroid functions.
Well, I talk a ton about the liver and loving on your liver and how it performs over 500 metabolic processes and the importance with thyroid. But I am learning from you about that really strong gallbladder connection, because I don't think the general public, we know about the liver, right? You hear enough about the liver in mainstream, or if you listen to any podcast whatsoever, including mine, that the liver is important. Your liver detoxes and liver cleanses and blah, blah, blah. But we don't talk enough about the gallbladder and its importance. And and I'm sure this was your experience as well. I've had many patients that had their gallbladder taken out. And the question I always ask them is, did the doctors go over what you need to do after you have your gallbladder out? Maybe take some ox bile, take some Tudka, support it. No, No, I mean, no education whatsoever. It's like, let's just rip out this organ that is vital. And oh, by the way, you might have issues with your liver. You might get Hashimoto's. You might have all these other problems because we just took out an organ and we're giving you no information or education afterwards whatsoever on how to take care of yourself. So this is very enlightening, actually, of how important the gallbladder is. And I have so many other questions for you that I won't get into yet. I'll let you keep going. Yeah.
No, and absolutely right. No, my doctor never told me. For years, I wasn't on any ox bile or Tatka. Our body is beautiful too. I'm amazed how well it functioned even without the ox bile. Now I do take it to ensure, because my vitamin D was low for a long time, and I was on supplements for a long time, and it wasn't going up. And it wasn't until I started taking bile acid, Tatka, it finally went above 50.
Oh my God, wait a minute. Another light bulb moment. Okay. All right, wait, we have to pause here. I mean, this is why these podcasts are real, true conversations. They're not always planned out. So if I have a patient, which I have a couple of them, they're taking vitamin D and I'm not seeing it go up. Like they're taking the right kind with K, taken with a fatty meal. And if they can't digest fats, if they had their gallbladder taken out and they're taking this vitamin D, it might not go up.
It might not go.
Okay.
And even if they do have the gallbladder in, it may not be functioning properly. It's not squeezing out the bile, right? The whole that bile, that portion has to be in the right consistency. It's not squeezing out enough, and you cannot absorb it. Yeah, and I took it for years, and it would go to 30, which is normal, because but it was last year, 57, 58, even though I would love for it to go higher, but I was like, I'll celebrate that.
Yeah, it's a win. It's a win.
It's a win. And you saw right earlier, the doctors, it's like an appendix, right? Even though appendix has a role, we don't need the gallbladder. Take it out. It's another, and I want to say for everyone, like I don't have one, and it functions, and I don't want anyone to feel bad about, oh, I got it, I shouldn't taken it out. Maybe for some people, it's absolutely life-saving. Maybe it was. That's why I want to believe maybe I was in such dire situation where that was the only solution.
Yeah,
and it had to be. And if you're there, but if we catch it early, right? I can talk about some signs that people could be experiencing. If we catch it earlier on, we can save this vital organ. Start supporting our liver and gallbladder, so it works for us.
Right.
Because in the US, I was looking some stats, it might be a little dated, like 2021, 22, like 600,000 gallbladder removal surgeries are performed in the US alone.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. So how many of them can be saved? How many of them may have to be taken out? And yes, you're right. And then what do you do afterwards? How can you support your fat digestion? Nobody is covering that. And people still suffer with indigestion. So some of the signs, if you think you might be having gallbladder issues, or subtle signs, because the body always gives a subtle sign, right? And our body is always talking to us. It's nudging us. And maybe mine was nudging too. I just never knew how to listen until it started yelling at me.
Yeah.
When I was screaming, I was, gosh, I have PTSD from that. But
really? That's not good. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people do have PTSD from not having all of the information, up front and then making a decision. But yeah, and what they've gone through.
It's as I said, liver, push up, squeeze out a baby any day than that. But so as you said, your gallbladder sits right under your liver on the right abdomen. So if that feels a little inflamed and if it hurts, maybe that could be something to look at. That's more physical. Some people feel that. The other is you feel bloated after eating a fatty meal. And, bloating could happen, if you have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, we know gut plays a huge role, and people could have SIBO or SIFO, and that you will have bloating all the time with that, a lot more bloating. But especially after eating a fatty meal, you're bloated and perhaps burping a lot. That's not fun. So that could be a sign, and maybe stomach distension after eating a meal. And again, going back to your low in your fat soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, because we need our A for our eyes. E is an antioxidant. K is for blood clotting. You know, they perform such important functions, and we can see the domino effect down the stream. And then there could be just the gallbladder attacks, which again could start a little subtle, but then they can really get really intense really fast. So that could be some subtle signs as well. And that people could, you know, start. And again, and if you have hypothyroidism, you already know that, check your liver and check your liver, your AST, ALT, alk phosphate. I think GGD, not everyone runs that, but those could be some good tests to see your liver markers.
But there's no actual gallbladder marker. Not that I'm aware.
No,
but I'm just
no, I don't think so. I've been looking and trying to find it. There isn't. You know, the bilirubin could be one that, if that's, you know, you could connect it. But I could, because liver plays a huge role in, and cholesterol plays a huge role in hormones, right? Our hormones are made of fat, right? And a lot of people, if they're having hormonal issues or estrogen dominance or, you know, high cortisol, you can maybe this cholesterol is impacted and we are having a whole lot of hormone issues, and probably bile is impacted too. And bile again helps. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Bile helps what?
No, bile also helps to get rid of conjugating to estrogen and getting rid of those too, right? So when I do the gut test, stool testing, if I see the beta glucuronide is high, okay, now bile is, it was high for me when I did my stool test, and I did not have any symptoms, but my beta glucuronide was high. So I don't have enough bile. It's not that bile is not getting produced, right? For everyone who don't have a gallbladder, it is getting produced, but it's just getting squeezed directly into the small intestine as it's getting produced. So I can't really, there's no storage. The storage system is out. So I cannot really store it and make it thicker as needed to make it available when I eat a fatty meal. So I have to support myself with bile acids when I do eat a heavy fattier meal, for sure.
So, okay, we know you're talking about a GI map, and I want to, you know, let people know. So with GI map, that is a functional test, and she's talking about the beta glucuronidase marker on that test. Now, not all y'all are going to go out and spend $450, $500 on a GI map stool test. So am I correct in saying really the only way to, if someone said, okay, I'm listening to you and I have some of those symptoms, I probably should go get my gallbladder checked out. Is it just an ultrasound? Like, how do they tell whether you have gallstones, sludge? How does conventional medicine tell?
Yeah. The conventional medicine, it's only the ultrasound, right? They'll do an ultrasound to check if there are stones. And if it's sludgy, honestly, I'm not sure if they can tell or what it would tell you, what they would say. They may not even treat it or suggest anything until it gets to the stone form, until they, you know, turn into stones.
Yep.
But if you start, you know, if you feel the symptoms, you know, that I just talked about, if you're feeling that, and if you have hypothyroidism, you do want to support your liver, which I know you talk a lot about, which in turn will start supporting your bile flow as well, just flushing it out and supporting that with TUDCA or with, you know, bile salts. That could help. So if you have a hypothyroidism issue, you got to take care of because of your liver and gallbladder. Or if you had your gallbladder taken out, or you have liver and gallbladder issues or non-alcoholic fatty liver, which is so common these days, you may want to get a full thyroid panel to see, is it your low thyroid hormone that's causing it? Because the doctors will not run it, or they'll just run the TSH and say all is good.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, I mean, so what do you do with your patients, your clients who, let's say they don't want to go through the hassle of getting the ultrasound, and maybe insurance will pay for it, maybe they won't. But how do you just support the gallbladder, or even for people that don't have symptoms yet, and they're listening to you going, my God, this is an important organ. Like, I'm having trouble converting T4 to T3. I'm having liver issues. My ALT and AST are high, even though I'm supporting my liver. What do you use with your clients to support and or address gallbladder issues?
Perfect. So I like nothing there's no magic pill. If there was, you and I would sell it, bottle it up with your supplement company and go sit on an island. So I really want, it is nutrition, it is lifestyle, and some supplements. I think I'll break it down into those 3 buckets.
Okay.
So even if you have a gallbladder, or if you don't, from a nutrients, you want to support your liver, and liver loves bitter foods. So we can, adding more cruciferous vegetables, adding more arugula, endives, artichokes, beets,
Okay.
to support your liver health. Milk thistle, dandelion tea, those are something I would recommend to support your liver. Even garlic, onion. So all the food nutrients that will help with supporting your liver and detoxing.
Okay.
And the other is when it comes to lifestyle practices, you want to sweat. Let's go out and exercise is important.
Okay.
You want to sweat because supporting the detox. Liver does a ton. I know skin can also help. So, and if you can't exercise for whatever reason, go get sauna. Sauna is a great way to help promote that.
Yep.
As well.
Yep.
And I love castor oil packs on my liver. That's something that I use.
What's the deal with that? Can you, okay. So I've had questions on castor oil. This is great.
Mm.
And I go, I don't know. You're putting oil on your skin. I mean, I know our skin absorbs things like hormones, right? I rub hormones on my skin. What is it seems like castor oil is like good for anything. I had an ear infection once and put castor oil in it. And I swear it cleared up my ear infection. Why are we doing castor oil packs?
Yeah. Okay. I will. Maybe the technicality, I did not look, I don't know the details, but when we
you just know that they work, right?
It do work. But the reason they work is when you put, oil, it's the heat. The reason we want to put that pack and cover it is the heat activates the component of the castor oil.
Okay.
That can get absorbed. That's why we want to cover it and tie it, make sure it's heat activated, and it gets absorbed into wherever that's your ear. You can put it on your abdomen, you could put it over liver, and that helps support the liver with a detox. I don't remember on the top of my head what the chemical, the activating component is, but it's heat activated, and it has to be good quality. You don't want just any castor oil you pick up.
Castor oil. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't do the trick, and you start. So even I haven't tried it yet, but people can put it on their thyroid hormone as well to support it. So it's non-invasive, it's safe. If it doesn't work, it wouldn't do harm, but it only works great. So that's another lifestyle aspect of putting castor oil packs, sweating, and getting rid of toxins. I don't think it's possible to live in a toxin-free environment. Even if I go to a jungle, we are surrounded, our soils are sprayed with toxins, our water is polluted. But it's not about being toxin-free, it's making sure your liver is able to get rid of the toxins we get exposed to.
Right.
So let's control what we can control. Our home environment, your cleaning supplies, your personal care products, your cooking utensils,
right?
Getting an air filter, your laundry detergent, because so many people, I can smell when somebody is using a detergent just by.
Oh my gosh! Right, it's so strong. I know.
Febreze and all those little things that we don't need. They're endocrine disruptors. They're just adding more load to our liver. The liver already has to do a ton of work. Now let's give it a break with that. And also, if you're used to taking a lot of over-the-counter medication, as we know, then the liver has to also process that. So those are ways, how can we reduce the toxins exposure with the right nutrients, with the right lifestyle, so it can start flushing things out. And when it comes to supplements, so if you don't have a gallbladder, you do want to start taking bile salts, whether it could be Tatka, it could be, there are different brand, Beta Plus, Ox Bile. You got to be on those supplements, especially for a fattier meal, so you can digest the fat and you won't feel bloated. And you're eating rich nutrient food, you want to absorb it, right? It doesn't, otherwise it's just going to pass through.
Right.
But if you still have a gallbladder, awesome, you just want to support it. It's again it could be adding some bile salt, it could be adding Tatka. Again, it just helps flush out the bile and gets it flowing again. So that could be another way to support it, for a short term, to see how you feel. I know there are no side effects I know somebody else had asked me that question, but if you are taking too much, you could have diarrhea. So
Okay.
that way, okay, you just need to like, okay, pull it back a bit. That's the only, it's happened to me a few times. Okay, you just learn more about your body, and okay, I know when to take it, how much to take it, and how to support it.
Right. Right. Exactly. Well, I love that. I mean, this seems pretty simple for people to support their gallbladder, and everything that you went through is really enlightening, especially as it relates to
Mm-hmm.
hypothyroidism and Hashimoto. So, I mean, these are just practical. They're just practical tips, and it can end up actually helping the thyroid as well.
Absolutely. And, I'm just thinking of even apple cider vinegar before meals. If you have a little gallbladder, just helping support digestion, because I'll just touch upon it. Our bile also signals the HCl production in our stomach. It plays a role that's weight too. And we know how important hydrochloric acid is for protein digestion. So it plays, again, everything in the body it's very multifaceted. They are super
Well, it's
talented.
like you said, it's fascinating. No, it is flat out fascinating how the body works.
I'm just in awe. That's why I was like, there's always so much to learn. And one of the habits I adopted, it's been years, that I start my day with hot water and lemon. Squeeze half a lemon in water. It's an Ayurvedic practice.
Yes.
It's an ancient Ayurvedic practice. And when I travel with lemons in my bags. It's
so good. You're so smart. Yeah, you know what? I used to do that. And it's funny how it's so funny. And I know the audience will resonate too, how we get away from the simple. Like we're buying saunas and, hundreds of dollars of supplements every month. And we'll do that. But we won't do hot water and lemon in the morning.
I know. It's out of nature. And, adding turmeric, it's an Indian spice that I use a ton of, but the Western world has caught up to it. It's so good and anti-inflammatory, really supportive of the liver. Adding cinnamon, lemon, grapefruit, they're all so supportive for the liver.
Yeah. And those are all simple things that we can do. Oh my goodness. Why not? Why not? I mean, come on. So, you know what? This has been so enlightening for me and for my audience. I love this. I love that you gave us this overview and tied it back to your own story. And for those who aren't watching, if you look up Divya Gupta, she looks like a rock star. I mean, you're bright, you're vibrant. When you told me that you had Hashimoto's, I'm like, no, you don't have any. I mean, obviously you're optimized. You're a beautiful weight, glowing skin, none of the poofiness, anything like that. So, and I was even shocked at your age. Like, I'm like, aren't you like 20 now? But you got diagnosed 3 years ago. Okay. So
you're so sweet. So kind.
now you look amazing. You're doing all the right things. And then, so thank you for coming on here and sharing your story and just all of your knowledge around this. So you work with clients. Can you tell people how they can find you, how they can follow you, all that good stuff? And then let me double check. Didn't you give us a freebie download too?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So yeah. Actually, can I give another tip? I know since now I was just thinking, like, if somebody is dealing with like attacks, if you really know if you have a gallbladder issues going on, ease up on the alcohol. That's something. It's a toxin. I'm like, I don't want to forget I enjoy my glass of wine, every now and then. So it's not forever. So maybe you want to take that away and maybe give a break on fatty meals while you just optimize the gallbladder, because if not, you're going to eat a fatty meal and it's going to hurt. Sorry, it's there's a million things in my head and I forgot to mention that. It's
no, I'm glad you did. Well, because the alcohol plays a role with the liver too. And honestly, I mean, I know Huberman has a whole lot of, bad PR going on right now, but if you go back and you listen to his alcohol episode, oh my God, it's just so enlightening and so eye-opening. And he really breaks down the science. It's not like a pedestal, don't drink, you shouldn't drink kind of episode. It is, if you choose to drink, we want you to know how it works in your body and what's happening in your body and the effects that can occur, like increased risk of breast cancer and all that. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm really happy.
No, absolutely. That's something I have my notes. I'm like, no, that's important.
Yeah, we gotta
And
say
the
that.
role it plays in estrogen, right? So, and especially
Oh,
women getting into the perimenopause, menopausal, like, add on, add on other, like already things are not working, add on more things that change in our lives.
I need
Well,
like
it
an
doesn't have
alcohol
to,
expert on here. If you know an
yeah.
alcohol expert, like I'd
Mm.
love to get Huberman on here to talk about alcohol, but probably not. So if you know an alcohol expert, I would love, because you're right, the estrogen too. Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we'll let me say we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll make
But
it happen.
but yeah, so if everyone goes to my website divyagupta.net, they can download a free e-guide on the symptoms that you feel when you have hypothyroidism, because the list is extensive. It's
Mhm.
never one thing. And also the comprehensive labs you should get, and the optimal ranges. And I really want everyone to get educated and be the CEO of your own health. Like, have your doctors work for you. I know you really speak. I love that, you're up, right to the face. Like they work for you. And it's not the other way around.
Right.
So so you can get that lab and have it handy when you even check your blood work to see, hey, are you normal or an optimal, and get your antibody. So that's a free guide they can grab and even keep it handy. So that's one place they can find me, or on Instagram at _Div Gupta. I know the links will be there in the show notes. So
Yep.
those are the two places you can find me. And yeah, I'm on LinkedIn because I worked in tech sector, so I have my LinkedIn on for a long time.
Yeah. Good for you for doing LinkedIn too. So many platforms, so little time. Well, Divya, thank
Yeah.
you. It's been a joy having you on, and we will put all those links in the show notes as well. So I appreciate your knowledge, and thank you once again.
No, thank you, Amy.